All right, guys, it's 1 o'clock, so if it's 1 o'clock, you know what that means. Yes, it is time for the Fox 5 Live Zone. I'm your host, Guy Lambert. Thanks so much for joining us on this, yes, back to work, and for some of you, back to school Monday afternoon. Boy, do we have a power-packed show lined up for you today. By the way, if you haven't already heard or told a friend, tell a friend, bring a friend from 1 to 3. This is the place where we want you to be. Some of the stories we're going to cover today, I got to tell you, we got a lot of them. The latest on the number of water main breaks that are happening throughout the DMV. At last count, I believe over 50. In just a minute, we're going to chance to speak with an official about what they're doing in order to rectify the issue. Oh, hey, did you hear? Renters in D.C., apparently the D.C. Attorney General coming to your aid to make sure, well, you can actually rent and do so a lot easier. Also in the show, we're calling all moms, and guess what? All moms are coming right here to Washington, D.C. A major rally going to be taking place this week, and you're going to hear all about it. How's that New Year resolution working out for you? Is it going in the right direction? Still having financial issues? Did that happen to be the case? Don't worry, we got an expert that's going to stop by. I'm telling you, he has some amazing tips. Oh, by the way, speaking of money, or moolah as they like to say, tax season right around the corner, or I guess it's kind of here right now. Yeah, well, what do you need to do? Once again, we're going to have somebody that can help you out with that. And of course, we got all the juicy gossip. All that and more coming up today on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Welcome to the LZ. All right, guys, it's 101 right now, taking a look at the wharf where we got plenty of sunshine, another brisk and chilly day. And if you get a chance to get out, make sure you bundle up. Grab the scarf, grab the gloves. You're also going to probably need that coat as well. And while you're at it, zip it up in order to make sure you're staying warm. Throughout this afternoon, it looks like it's going to get just a little bit warmer. We'll top out in the low to mid 40s. Well, guys, if you happen to join us earlier this week, or shall I say last week, one of the top stories that we happen to be following happened to be a major plane emergency landing taking place in Loudoun County. Now, we were on the air live when this actually occurred, and I got to tell you, a lot of folks have been tweeting and hopping on social media asking for a recap with regard to what happened. For those of you who will join us, you know. If you're joining us for the first time, or dear God, crawling from under a rock and hearing about it for the first time, well, you would be surprised to know that it happened this past Friday on Route 606, that plane making an emergency landing in Loudoun County. The Cessna, plain and simple, lost power, and that's what happened to it. We're going to get a report from David Kaplan to find out exactly what went down. Take a look.
Take a look at this video. There were 5 passengers and 2 crew members on the Cessna 208 Caravan, a Southern Airways Express flight between Dulles and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. One clip is from before the flight, just helps give you an idea of the size of the aircraft. The next is immediately after the plane lands on the Loudoun County Parkway. You can see the door being opened, all of the passengers beginning the process of safely exiting. Then, a few videos immediately after the passengers and crews got off. First responders walking back and forth. One of the passengers asked the co-pilot what happened that led to this. Take a listen.
I don't know. We started losing power. We went to turn back to the runway. There was no making it. We lost power.
We went to turn back to the runway and there was no making it. We lost power is what that co-pilot said. Have to stress an official investigation is underway as the Federal Aviation Administration and Transportation Safety Board are looking into what happened. In a statement obtained by the Associated Press, the CEO of Southern Airways said he was happy no one was hurt and the pilots did what they needed to keep passengers safe.
Story. We were following that throughout the afternoon here live on the Fox 5 Live Zone. There got a lot of calls about what was happening as well, as you heard David make mention of that plane traveling from Dulles to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. At least 7 people on that plane, 5 of which happened to be passengers, 2 pilots. Guys, throughout the day, that was definitely breaking news and something that we had not seen, well, quite honestly, right here in the DMV before, as we stated throughout that day, to make an emergency landing along the Loudoun County Parkway with those conditions at that time. Well, dear God, it's amazing how that all happened. And so we applaud the pilot. I got to tell you, a lot of folks were talking about it throughout the weekend, and you all tweeted us as well to let us know that you too were very happy that everyone got out of that event safe. As I mentioned, one of the other stories we're going to be covering, the water main breaks. In just a minute, we're going to be joined by an official to give us the latest on what's happening throughout the area. This a major problem as well. As you can see, it was happening throughout the morning. To my understanding, it happened more than 50 times, guys, and this is something you got to think about as you go off about your business. And, well, dear God, think about that you have to actually deal with a water main break. one of which happens to be right here in D.C. As I stated, we're going to be joined by the WSSC Water folks to give us an update on exactly what's happening. One of the good things that I like about Monday is bringing good news, and that's what you're going to find out right here on this show. It's nothing better than to put a smile on someone's face when you have the Monday blues. Well, in this case, I think you're going to like this. A local nurse actually headed to Gaza to give back in a major way. Our own Stephanie Ramirez got a chance to chit-chat with her. Take a look at what happened.
Ladies, this mom and daughter works in the area as an operating room and emergency room nurse. So she's seen a lot, but she says she doesn't think anything can really prepare her for caring for patients in a war zone. Still, she tells us she feels a moral obligation to go. With one personal bag and 3 suitcases full of medical supplies.
Hi, I'm well, thank you.
The 42-year-old Northern Virginia nurse Egypt checked in at the United Airlines counter, focused, but still anxious.
I backpedaled like all week long, thinking maybe I shouldn't go through with this, but I'm putting my faith in God's hands, and I'm hoping for the best, hoping for a ceasefire tonight, so that the medical professionals who are there can get the job done with helping heal these victims of war.
Lana, who asked we not use her last name for safety reasons, volunteered about 3 weeks ago with the international humanitarian nonprofit Med Global to bring her skills to the Gaza Strip. There is a team there now who shared video of what they're facing. We must warn you, those images are difficult to watch. Recent reports say Gaza's health ministry estimates the number of wounded is around 60,000, the death toll over 25,000. Lana telling Fox 5 she was moved to act seeing people die from injuries most heal from every day.
There, they don't have the medicines that they need. They don't have the physicians they need. They're getting infected and succumbing from sepsis. So it's stuff that we can help them with if we're allowed in with our medical supplies and medications.
She raised over $10,000 to both ship and fly over her own medical supplies, headed to Rafah, the crossing between Egypt and the Gaza Strip. While checking in, Lana told Fox 5 it was her mother who inspired her to become a nurse. And now, of Palestinian descent, it's her family taking her to that next step.
For humanity's sake, I've got to go and help.
While this is a first medical trip with personal ties, Lana tells us she plans for this to be the first of many wanting to travel all across the world to help people of all backgrounds. We certainly wish her a safe journey. We're told she's going to be there for about 2 weeks.
Once again, our Stephanie Ramirez reporting. What a great story. I told you, it's a feel-good Monday, and well, nothing makes you feel better than hearing a story like that. Stick around, guys. We're going to take a quick break. Give me 2-3 minutes max. When we come back, we're speaking with a representative from the WSSC with regard to water main breaks right here in D.C. You're watching the Fox 5 Live Zone. Welcome to the LZ. You hear me?
Are you guys talking to me?
Mic check. Hey, Lynn, can you hear me?
I can. Can you guys
Awesome.
hear me? I'm
Yep,
just
I
holding
can
my
hear
phone
you
at a
loud
break.
and clear. We're coming back to you in about 1.5 minutes. I'm sorry, 50 seconds.
Okay, sounds good.
50 seconds. Stand by.
Okay.
All right, guys, it's 1:10 right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Welcome back. If you're just joining us for the first time, welcome to our new digs. Hope you like it. One of the major stories happens to be in D.C. right now. A whole lot of shaking going on. And with regard to that, I mean the water pipes in D.C. We have over 82 water main breaks that, well, quite honestly, folks have been dealing with over the past couple of days. The latest, I got to tell you, it's a lot for folks to deal with, especially when you talk about that water releasing and then freezing over. And that's why we decided to bring in WSSC Representative Lynn Riggins to chit-chat with us. Lynn, first of all, welcome to the program. Thanks so much for joining us on the Fox 5 Live Zone.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I'm actually in Laurel, Maryland. So WSSC Water serves Montgomery and Prince George's counties. So I'm in Prince George's County right now, where you're right. We've had about 82 water main breaks and leaks since Saturday. So in 3 days, it's been super busy for our crews.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's so many, I get confused. I'm pretty sure you do as well. As you heard me state, 82 water main breaks. I mean, when you and I chit-chatted earlier off air, you know, quite honestly, I gasped when I heard you say that. Do folks find that unusual, or is that actually unusual to be dealing with so many water main breaks during this time of the year?
I mean, it's winter, so it's not unusual for our crews. They're ready for it. They're used to it. So this is what we do. You know, we track the temperature of the Potomac River carefully. We see it sort of as a crystal ball. So when the temperature of the Potomac River hits a new low for the season, we always see an increase in water main breaks a few days later. And that's what's happened. The Potomac River temperature has dropped about 13 degrees in the past 12 days. And we've had about 29 or 30 water main breaks on Saturday, about as many on Sunday, and they're increasing as we go through the day today. So we're up to about 82.
Yeah, you know, if I could say there is something cool about this, it's the science of it all. And when I discovered that only a 10-degree difference can really increase the amount of pressure, if you will, on the water pipes, dear God, it's as if, you know, it's right out of a sci-fi movie, but it's real.
It is real. You know, pipes kind of get used to the water at a certain degrees, and then all of a sudden when that colder than normal water starts going through the pipes, it shocks them in a matter of speaking. And, you know, we do have a lot of aging infrastructure in our system. About 40% of the pipes in our water distribution system are over 50 years old. So we have about 5,900 miles of water mains in Montgomery and Prince George's counties, and 40% are over 50 years old. So my hands are shaking because it's a little chilly out here and I'm holding my phone. Sorry about that. But it's, you know, these pipes, they're older, they're brittle, and all of a sudden this colder than normal water starts going through them, and we see an increase in water main breaks, and that's what's going on right now.
Yeah, well, Lynn, first of all, thank you so much for braving the elements, if you will. You're truly a woman of the people to do so. Folks that actually
No, it's our crews. Our crews are the ones braving it. They've been working around the clock. I'm just out here, but they're behind me. I don't know if you can see them, but they're the true heroes out here working in all types of conditions to get the water back on for our customers.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you touched on that. So if I happen to be one of the many, or maybe not many, that happens to be experiencing no water right now because of the water main break, what are some of the things that I can do in the meantime?
Well, you know, call us and let us know. You know, the sooner we know about a water main break, the sooner we can fix it. Don't assume that we know about it, especially right now when they are breaking pretty rapidly. Make sure you call us and let us know. So the sooner we get out there, the sooner we can fix it. If you don't have water and we're aware of it, just know that patience is a virtue. Our crews are working as quickly as possible, and we will get the water back on for our customers as quickly as we possibly can. That's why we're here. We're here to deliver the essential. We know water is essential, and that's why our crews are here to work around the clock and get the service back on.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, you all are doing an amazing job at that. Before I let you go, I can tell you that I have an uncle. I remember as a kid when something would happen, it's Superman to the rescue. He would come in and try to save the day. We're not asking residents to try to come in and save the day with regard to a water main break, correct?
Just let us know, report it, and if we know, be patient and know that we do prioritize our water main breaks. So if there's a break that's causing, you know, damage to a street and it's dangerous, we're going to prioritize that one over one that's perhaps a leak that is not having the greatest impact. So we do prioritize. We have as many crews as working as we possibly can. We have contractors supporting us, so we are getting to them. But if we don't get to it quick enough, just know we prioritize them based on safety, and we will get to you as soon as possible.
I couldn't have said it any better. Once again, Lynn Riggins with WSSC Water. Thank you so much for what you're doing, and the crew behind you happen to be doing as well.
I'm going to go thank them for you.
All right, give them a high five. Once again, guys, Lynn Riggins with WSSC. We'll see you soon, man. Thanks so much for checking in on the Fox 5 Live Zone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, you're welcome. Well, as you heard her state, guys, this is a major issue that's plaguing our area right now, so it's nothing out of the ordinary, and it's the good folks over there that are trying to bring about change and make sure that, well, you get that water that you need. Stick around. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, renter protection in D.C. Yes, that happens to be a major issue. And now the D.C. Attorney General plans to take action. You're going to hear all about that and much more. You're in the Fox 5 Live Zone. All right, Mr. Vermillion.
Yeah, I'm here.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll get to you in about 1 minute or so. Anything
Sounds
in
great.
specific you want to make sure that I touch on?
Just the things that renters should be on the lookout for, and certain rights that they should know, such as the cap on application fees and late fees, I think are really important.
Got it. All right, guys, it's 1:18 right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Welcome back. Thanks so much for sticking around with us today. If you haven't heard, a major issue in D.C. happens to be a lot of renters coming to the forefront, complaining about issues that they are facing or dealing with their landlords. Now it's the D.C. Attorney General to the rescue. And here to tell us all about the good things that they have going on happens to be Mr. Kevin Vermillion, who is joining us with regard to what the D.C. Office of the Attorney General has to say about all of this. Kevin, first of all, welcome to the Fox 5 Live Zone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us.
Thanks for having me.
So I got to ask you, I happen to be, for full disclosure, I happen to be a renter, and quite honestly, I haven't had any issues, but that's not the case for a lot of folks living in Washington, D.C. Apparently, them dealing with their landlords, well, quite honestly, it's become a major issue for them as of late.
Yeah, so at the Office of the Attorney General, one of Attorney General Schwab's top priorities is protecting DC residents from unfair and deceptive business practices, scams, and abuse. And one of the biggest areas of complaints that we get is from renters. So it runs the gamut, but one of the larger things that we are concerned with is making sure that renters know their rights when it comes to the fees that their landlords are charging them, and that renters know what to look out for when their landlords are charging them these fees.
Yeah, and this, really, correct me if I'm wrong, but this starts from the beginning, because when one fills out an application, quite honestly, he or she, well, in some cases have been taken advantage of.
Yeah, honestly, it starts even before an application. So we are really concerned about when renters are looking for housing, even before they get to the application. Then, like you said, at the application process, and then also once you're already living there. But there are laws that protect tenants when they are paying for an application, when they're filling out an application. And that is one of the things that this alert really focuses on.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, you guys are doing a great job to do just that. A lot of folks also don't know that the landlord must also provide as much information as possible. You heard me say full disclosure when you got on and talk about how I'm a renter, but the landlords need to really exercise full disclosure as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So when someone is applying to rent an apartment in DC, not only is there a guarantee that by law, that the application fee has to be capped at $52, the landlord has to provide information. They have to tell you where that $52 is going to, what the screening process looks like, and how long that is generally going to take, among other things. So the landlord does have to tell you where your money is going and what's being done with it.
Let me ask you, was there a particular case that the Office of the Attorney General happened to be dealing with that really brought this to the forefront? Why all of a sudden are a lot of folks dealing with this?
So we can't talk about specific cases, but we run a consumer mediation hotline where we take complaints and tips over phone, email, and through our website. And renter issues are one of the biggest categories of complaints that we get, and especially when it comes to fees and fees that tenants don't understand or what they're being charged for. And also, just on January 1st, the cap for application fees just went up from $50 to $52, went up with inflation. So we figured that now was a good time to be putting this advice out to consumers.
Yeah, and once again, this is happening to a lot of folks, as you just made mention of. If I happen to be a victim of this or think I'm a victim, what's the first thing I should do?
Yeah. So, tenants should always feel free to direct their landlord to the consumer alert that we've put out. But if you've already paid a fee and you feel like that fee was unlawful, or you don't understand what that fee was for and you feel like you were charged an unlawful fee, we would really encourage tenants to reach out to our office. Like I said, we run a mediation program so people can submit complaints online, through email, or they can call us. And our mediation program will be happy to reach out to your landlord if you feel like it's something that you should be refunded for, to try and mediate that dispute.
Yeah, I'm so glad you touched on that. I mean, the first thing I'm thinking about is I'm actually the renter and renting from, as you stated, the landlord. I guess my immediate fear would be retaliation if I, happen to speak out. But what you're saying is that you all can actually make sure that's not an issue.
Well, our mediation program is voluntary, and there are legal protections for tenants when it comes to retaliation. And there are a lot of, while we don't give tenants individual legal advice, there are a lot of legal resources within the district, both for tenants and landlords, that tenants can go to if they feel like they are being retaliated against, that can help them out with that as well. But our mediation program, when it comes to a unlawful application fee or anything like that, is happy to reach out to a landlord to try and resolve that dispute in an amicable manner, usually.
Yeah. Once again, you all are leading the fight, if you will, on the forefront, spearheading this whole effort. Out of curiosity, are a lot of municipalities following in your footsteps with regard to making sure that they too are addressing this issue?
Well, DC has some of the strongest renter protections in the country. And our office tries to be at the forefront of, educating tenants in the district of what their rights are, and what landlords' responsibilities are. And we hope that other jurisdictions will follow along, and continue to push so that everyone is educated and knows what their rights are.
All right. Well, once again, we appreciate what you're doing and what the Attorney General is doing in order to make sure that we combat this issue. Folks, one more time that want to find out more information as to how they can go about to make sure they too don't become a victim, where would you direct them to?
I would direct them to our website, which has this consumer alert on it, and also has all of our contact information if they want to submit a complaint or alert us to any other practices. And then always they can reach out to different legal service providers if they need individual legal advice, and we'd be happy to refer anybody that needs that advice to them.
Awesome. Sir, we truly appreciate what you're doing. We truly appreciate the Office of the Attorney General. Continued success, and well, thank you for sticking up for us guys and gals that still continue to rent. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Once again, Mr. Kevin Vermillion with the D.C. Office of the Attorney General, kind enough to join us right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. All right, guys, stick around. When we come back, we're talking about the 14th Annual National School Choice Week Awareness. It's all going to take place right here in Washington, D.C. We got a lot of folks coming to the nation's capital, and you're going to hear all about it. Welcome to the Fox 5 Live Zone. Shelby?
Hey, how are you?
Okay, awesome. Are we able to get you on video? I can't see you.
You can't? Okay. Let's see. I think it's using my default camera.
Oh, there we go. I got you
let's...
now. There we go. Awesome.
Yeah. Sorry, I have a nicer one, but we'll do this one because it likes this one better.
All right. Thank you so very much. Anything in particular you want me to touch on during this interview? Obviously, we're talking about the National School Choice Awareness Week now underway. Anything in specific?
Yeah, we've got a great event happening in DC that's on Wednesday of this week. Would love to talk about that. It's hosted by the Black Mothers Forum.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys, it's 1:27 right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Thanks so much for sticking around with us today. And of course, as stated, without further ado, it is time to celebrate and celebrate in a major way. Why? Well, because we're talking about kids and we're talking about moms, and that's always to be celebrated. Yes, we're getting set for the 14th annual National School Choice Week, which is taking place throughout the country. 123 events happening right here in D.C. Now it's time for you to find out all about it. I'm pleased to say that I'm joined by Miss Shelby Doyle, Vice President of the National School Choice Awareness Foundation. Hi, Shelby. Welcome to the Fox 5 Live Zone.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I got to tell you, this is really exciting. I don't know if you can see the smile on my face, but whenever we get a chance to talk about moms, dads, and kids, well, it always makes me happy, and I'm sure it makes you happy as well. This is a big deal. Some 27,000 events, I believe, to my understanding, throughout the country is going to be taking place, but 123 of them right here in D.C. Folks finding out about this for the first time, why don't you tell me all about it?
Well, the verb you used is the key one here, celebrate. So the goal of National School Choice Week is to make this a fun, positive, and inclusive time when families can find out about any K-12 school option they might want to choose for their son or daughter, whether that's traditional public school, public charter school, magnet, private, online, home, or non-traditional. We work with schools across the country, homeschooling groups, and families to plan fun events that help families unpack these options and start the process of choosing them for the fall.
Yeah, and of course, one of the big events that's going to be taking place will happen here in D.C. this Wednesday, right, at the Lincoln Memorial. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're really excited about this one. So a coalition of groups led by the Black Mothers Forum is putting on a great event at the Lincoln Memorial on Wednesday, and they're trying to draw attention to the need for school choice in their community and talk about how it impacts their families, because ultimately this is a very personal issue for families across the country, and they want to make sure their kids have options.
Yeah, I remember that song, I Believe the Children Are the Future. You know where I'm going with that. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Well, we all know that when it comes to leading the way, there have been major education shifts within the system. How does that affect families?
So there's a ton changing when it comes to school options. If you have that sense, you're one of the majority of parents. So 58% of them told us this month they do think that their state has more options than it did last year. And in 20 states, they're right. So it's important to think about what those options might look like. Even if you checked in a couple years ago, they could be different than the last time you looked. So we're seeing expansions, particularly in the areas of public charter schools. Montana, for instance, just added them for the first time ever. And then there's been lots of growth in the private school choice program world, which are programs that help families afford the cost of private schools. Of course, DC has one of their own of that style of program. But there's really just a lot of change happening right now. Last year was the biggest expansions of school choice programs writ large that we've ever seen in a single year.
Wow, really? I didn't know that. And to think that's actually happening right now is truly amazing. I'm curious, a mom, dad watching right now, and they're saying, you know what, I want to become more involved. I want to be active outside of actually taking part in the rally, if you will, that's going to be happening at the Lincoln Memorial on Wednesday. What other things can he or she do?
So, if you're a parent who wants to know more about school choice or just already passionate about it, you can start by going to our website at schoolchoiceweek.com. You'll find a state guide there, or in your case, a district guide to what these options are in your local area. And you can also find out about events happening near you. So, local schools, like your local, maybe public charter school, a private school, or a magnet school, are going to be planning events that are designed to bring the community in and help them consider them for the fall. So, if you have a really practical question like, would I like the school that I drive by every day for my son or daughter? They may be planning an event that you can go to this week and answer that question.
Yeah, it's so funny. I tell folks this all the time. I'm a storytelling type of guy. I love to tell stories and I love to hear stories. Perhaps you could share with us one where maybe you ran into a mom or dad that actually took part in this actual program and then said, oh my gosh, I didn't know perhaps this existed, and now look what I'm doing now.
I have so many of those stories. So we talk to parents year round, whether it's on Facebook Messenger, whether it's on WhatsApp. We try to answer as many questions as we can. And one of my favorite stories that happened last year, mom was having trouble enrolling her student who did have special needs in the school of her choice. This is actually a zone public school, and she needed help navigating that process. It was a challenge for her. English was not her first language. And so we were able to help her understand what her rights and options were in her area and equip her with the information she needed to go into that meeting and feel empowered and informed. I think parents sometimes find themselves in these meetings with people who have a lot of advanced degrees and use a lot of education technical terms, which is great. But as a parent, you don't necessarily have all that in your toolbox. And so we try to make sure parents feel like they have some expertise to bring because they know their kids best. And their voice and their perspective is a really important part of any enrollment decision or just keeping their child successful in the school that they've chosen.
Yeah, gosh, I got to tell you, this, once again, just smiling from ear to ear, knowing that something like this is actually happening. When so much bad news happens, it's always good to have some good news, and we truly thank you for what you're doing and the organization is doing in bringing it right here to Washington, D.C. One more time, folks that are looking for more information, the website one can log on to?
Schoolchoiceweek.com, and don't worry, it's up the other 51 weeks of the year as well.
I love it. Once again, Shelby joining us, Shelby Doyle, I should say, the Vice President of the National School Choice Awareness Celebration. Thank you so much for coming on the Fox 5 Live Zone today. We truly appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. How cool is that? I told you, this show is not only about providing you with live news, information, but also will put a smile on your face. That's what happens right here at the Fox 5 Live Zone. Speaking of putting a smile on your face, how's that New Year resolution coming up for you? You having issues with it? Are you living up to it, especially from the financial sense? Not the fear. We got a specialist, as I like to call him, that's going to come and save the day for you. Stick around for that. All that and so much more coming up right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. You're in the LZ. All right, guys, welcome back. It's 1:35 right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. That's a live look at the wharf. Plenty of sunshine in the forecast for today, but don't be fooled. Old Man Winter is making his presence known. Yes, it is downright cold. We're going to top out in the low to mid 40s. Well, if you take a peek at the calendar, you'll realize, yes, I know we passed the new year, and yes, you probably made a New Year resolution, but the question is, are you living up to it? Have you faltered? Yeah, I'm kind of guilty. Happened to me. Well, I got to tell you, especially if it's dealing with finance, we're going to get some tips in order to make sure we are headed in the right direction. Pleased to say that I'm joined now by I guess a good buddy of mine now. He's a financial expert, guru, TV personality, and my friend, none other than Mr. D. Brown. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me back, guy. I appreciate it.
I got to tell you, this is just so exciting. We had you on before, and the phones, as they say, or as my niece would say, they blew up because so many folks loved what you had to say, and so we were so glad to get you back on. You heard me touch on it, and that is, I remember, I think it was just before Christmas, I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm really going to crack down on certain things from a financial aspect. And, well, I think by January 3rd, it's all out the window.
Right.
I'm probably not the only one. So folks that are in my shoes, what are some of the things that we can do in order to get back on track?
Well, I think that myself personally, I'm not a big resolution kind of guy. I'm more goal oriented. And so I think rather than trying to tie your hopes and dreams to a resolution, it's really more wise to really set long-term and short-term goals because those transcend, timelines. And so I think a lot of times the hype of the new year get individuals worked up and they say, oh, well, starting January 1, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, but they really haven't sat down and prepared a plan or a goal to accomplish that. And so I have a good friend, Emmett Smith, that says that, until you write it down, it's not a goal. And I think that you must really sit down, write your goals, and map out a plan, a financial plan. And then you must become very disciplined about implementing that plan. It's no difference than, a person that has a job, right? You're committed to that job. You get up every morning at the same time and you report to work on time. And by doing that, you keep your job and you get promoted, etc. So when it comes to financials, you really have to look at it the same way. You have to get serious about it. You have to map out a plan. You have to create a budget. You have to track expenses. You have to be able to control your impulses and not give in to immediate gratification. And you need to work that plan and be committed to that plan. And really, it's a day-by-day process. Every day you are having to make decisions and operate within the circumference of the plan that you have laid out for yourself.
Yeah, it's so funny. Out of everything you said, the number one name that stuck out happened to be Emmett Smith. I knew you were cool, but I didn't know you were that cool. I wish I could call him my friend as well, sir. But that's just, but to hear what you have to say and how we should go about to really implement that and make that happen, it's probably easier said than done. I heard what you said, and I need to apply all of that. But is there something that perhaps stands out above anything else that I could do immediately in order to bring about change?
Yeah, I think the first step is to sit down and really lay out your monthly expenses and really start to identify areas where you can trim the fat. And I think that you're absolutely correct. It's easier said than done. But a lot of us, even, regardless of what walk of life you come from, have had the experiences in our lives to really become disciplined and accomplish our goals. And that's whether you played sports in high school or college, or whether you were in the military, etc. We've all have been in situations where we've had to make decisions and stick to those decisions. So I think sitting down, laying out the expenses, understanding the easiest areas for you to trim back the fat in your budget, and then really making a commitment to yourself and your family collectively that you're going to adhere to that budget. I think that's really the first step that we can make. And then the other issue, as I've discussed before, is that some of the issues we have, especially in minority communities and communities of color, is that we don't understand financials. We're not financially literate. And so that in and of itself leads to us making decisions to operate outside of financial norms. I mean, we still have individuals within our communities that are using check cashing locations as their banking mechanism. And so we really just have to become more financially literate as well.
Yeah, I'm curious, what was it for you that really got you so interested and involved and wanting so much to give back with regard to this topic?
Well, when I first got in business, I learned early on that in order to be successful, it had to be more than just about making money. For me, or for anyone that has been successful, you get to a certain point where you say, well, this is not really in and of itself fulfilling. And so early in my business career, I turned to philanthropy and giving back to communities and giving back to HBCUs and other educational uh, facilities. That was my way of really helping to uh, pay forward. And so because of that, we launched the foundation, the Brown Foundation. And so we teach math and we teach financial literacy in the summertime to uh, children across 11 or 12 states in about 54 cities online and virtually. And as well, we went in and established a really robust endowment program with a variety of HBCU institutions where we're making a financial commitment long term that would last in perpetuity, where we can really have an impact in this area. So I think that you have to really, as a successful person, give back to the communities that have contributed to your success.
Mm.
And I think that it's more rewarding than the financial component, the for profit component, when you can see the difference that you make in a young person's life.
Yeah, gosh, I'm just sitting here thinking about that and how you've done such a great job doing that. There are a lot of moms and dads and other adults like myself watching or looking at you right now and saying, well, that sounds great and all, but I didn't really live up to it, but perhaps I need to instill those values within my children. Talk about the importance of that.
Well, it's super important. Again, I'm a first generation business owner. My mom was a single parent. I don't know my biological father. My grandfather had third grade education. So everything that I achieved, I had to go out and really, as they say, get it out the mud. And so by being in this position, and I now employ uh, four of my six children with my company, and I'm giving them an opportunity to have hands-on experience in the business, but not just on the for-profit side, but also on the philanthropic side. And so what they're able to witness and see is the impact that we're able to have, not just in our local communities, but in other institutions and communities across the country where we have been able to work and do business. And I think that set the stage for long-term generational uh, giving from our young people. If you've never seen it, you never experienced it, you look at it as an expense, but it's really an investment because we all know that the best investment that you can make is in mankind and into human capital. And so that's where we have tried to instill those values into our children.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but right now I feel like just jumping up and changing my whole financial diet that I got going on. I mean, you are really energizing us to do the right thing. Folks that want to find out more information about you and or how that they can really implement the steps that you made mention of, is there a website or something that someone can log on to find out more info?
Sure, absolutely. So my primary website for me personally is dbrownceo.com. That's DEEBROWNCEO.com. And then we have the Brown Foundation, brownfoundationcdc.org, which is our philanthropic arm where we do all of our charitable work.
Easy as one, two, three. By the way, you heard me make mention of Emmett Smith, and I'm only saying that because you made mention of him. I knew you were cool then,
Yeah,
but I know you were even cooler when I found out you happened to be a frat brother of mine of Kappa Alpha Psi. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
absolutely. Yo, baby, yo.
Once again, Mr. D. Brown, financial guru, TV personality, joining us right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Thank you so much, sir. We'll chat with you soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right,
Take
how
care.
cool is that? I got to tell you, that's one of the cool things about this show is we're going to have a number of folks come on and talk about any and everything that happen to be not only affecting us nationwide, but right here in the DMV. That gentleman is a man who knows his stuff, and now so do you. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's time to get all up in it. I'm talking about entertainment. I'm talking about gossip, something about Dave Chappelle and Cat Williams. Let's get ready to rumble. Maybe, maybe not. You'll find out more when we come back. You're watching the Fox 5 Live Zone. You're in the LZ. What's up, Media Prince?
Hey, how are you?
Awesome, sir. Did you send me the links for the other?